And let's go ahead and start today in a child's pose. All right, find your child's pose and allow yourself to just be really heavy here. Notice any parts of the body that need a little extra reminder. Maybe it's through the shoulders or the face, maybe the hips. But every exhale, think of just releasing further, growing heavier toward the mat. And from here, you can begin to consciously lengthen out the inhales and the exhales. We can even restrict, or constrict, I should say, through the back of the throat, allowing for an audible inhale, audible exhale. Take one more full cycle of breath. Again, lengthening even further through the inhale and further through the exhale. And then on an inhale, we're going to lift the head just enough to where we can crawl the hands over to the left. Allow your hands to be tented, so fingertips into the mat. Keep anchoring the right hip down. Relax the head and let the breath come and go in a way that stretches through the right side body. On your inhale, come back up, crawl through center, and then all the way to the right side. So this time anchoring that left hip back, tenting the fingers, finding expansion through the left side body on every inhale. Even continuing to find length on the exhale. On your next inhale, come back up through center. And we're going to work those really active child's pose breaths. So tented fingers straight out ahead of you. On the exhale, draw the navel in, press into the mat with the fingertips, round through the shoulders. Exhale, soften back down. Inhale, soften back down. Exhale to round and lift. Inhale to soften down. We're going to do these a few more times, and I want you to notice your shoulders, specifically how on the exhale, as you round through the body, your armpits kind of hug in toward the ears. That's a key component of lots of inversions, lots of arm balances, and we can play with it here without needing all of the weight to already be in the hands. Next time you exhale, we're going to rock forward to hands and knees, finding tabletop. And from here, let's take a couple wags of the tail side to side, elongating one side of the body while contracting the other. And then we'll move into cat-cow. Let your inhale and exhale be wherever you'd like them to be right now. We're still consciously directing the breath, so it's maybe a little longer than it would naturally be. But it's up to you to determine the pace and the depth beyond that. Curl the toes under. On your next exhale, let's add in a little hover of the knees. Inhale to lower. Exhale again, we'll hover the knees. Inhale, lower. We'll do that again. And again, I want you to just notice the tops of the arm bones, the armpits, how they're hugged in toward the ears a little bit here. And then inhale, lower the knees. Exhale, we're going to press all the way up and back. Downward facing dog. Allow yourself a few breaths here to bicycle the heels, to bend the knees, to reach the torso back, to do anything that might feel good. Let's do one more breath. From here, we're going to look toward the hands. Let's do a nice low hop. So not even worrying about how far forward we hop, keeping it nice and gentle. Bend into the knees, keep the hips low. Hop the feet forward any amount that feels okay right now. On an inhale, keep the legs bent but elongate the spine to look forward. Exhale, release. Inhale, root into the feet, rise all the way up, sweeping those arms out and up. And exhale, hands through heart center. Let's take a moment here, maybe even close the eyes. Just notice what it feels like to be head up, to be standing for the first time in this practice. And then we'll open the eyes, inhale the arms back up. Turn both hands face forward. Grab the left wrist with the right fingers, curl left thumb and fist. Exhale, pull to the right. Let the hips push away to the left. Left shoulder can scoop back. On an inhale, rise all the way back up through center and switch the grip. And then exhale, go to the left, hips go, this time to the right. And right shoulder draws gently back. Inhale, back up. Soften the knees, exhale to fold. Fingertips on the mat, inhale, long spine, half lift. Exhale, fold. Plant the hands, and we're gonna work on really mindfully hopping back. So shift the weight into the hands, pressing into the fingertips, and we're gonna hop the feet back just an inch at a time, okay? So we press into the hands, leaning forward, hop them back just an inch, just an inch, just an inch. Okay, I'm doing more than an inch. I'm doing about, I'm doing like 7 inches, it turns out, okay? So don't listen to me, but just do little hops until you find your downward facing dog. Allow yourself a breath here. And then before we move into a vinyasa, we're going to do a couple spinal rolls. So we worked on this a while ago. Before we engage the whole body, we're going to work on doing just the torso. So let the legs stay still how they are. And I want you to think of that cat-cow breathing. So we can think of drawing the navel in, the chin can round in, and we can think of rounding through the shoulders, and then the navel pulls back, and we release the other direction. So we round forward, and then we come back. Round forward, come back. And these can be really small little waves. They might be clunky and awkward. That's totally fine. We're going to start to exaggerate. So on this next one, we're going to rock forward to plank, keep the chin tucked in, round, round, round through the back, press the mat away. Come to a normal plank, bend the knees, lift the tail, let the tail pull you back. Nice, let's do one more of those. So come up onto the toes, round forward into plank, chin is tucked, shoulders are really rounded. Find normal plank, bend the knees, lift the tail, Let it pull you back up. All right, last time rounding forward. From here, we're going to lower the knees to the mat, lower chest and chin, Ashtangasana. And then inhale, pull through to Cobra. Exhale, soften back to the mat. Inhale, find your way up and back to downward facing dog. Look toward the front of the mat. We're again going to make a hop, and we'll do just a nice, gentle hop. So think of landing lightly. Think of keeping weight in the hands, trying to land as softly and as slowly even as you can. Once you arrive, elongate the spine to a half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise all the way up. Exhale those hands through heart center. Step the feet until the big toes are touching one another. We'll again lift the arms up, palms face forward. This time, left fingers grab around right wrist, thumb and fist. Exhale, pull to the left. Hips go right. Let your chin be neutral here. Your head slightly tilted to the left, but we're really just trying to stay in line with the body, not put any strain into the cervical spine. Inhale through center and switch the grip. And then exhale to the right, hips go left. Inhale to come back up through center. On an exhale, let the hands come to the hips. Today we're going to step the feet a little wider than we normally would. So instead of being underneath the hips, step them maybe a footprint wider. If the toes turn out a little bit, that's fine. Just make sure the feet are symmetrical in what they're doing. And we're going to enter into our back bend here. So always press into the feet, sit bones draw toward each other, tailbone anchors down, navel draws in. We can draw the elbows toward one another on the back, press the hips forward any amount, lift through the heart, lift through the chin. Notice if this feels any different to you. Use an inhale to come all the way back up. Reach the arms up. Soften the knees. Exhale, waterfall forward. And here we'll be in a wider than normal forward fold. So we're not quite at a wide-legged forward fold, but we're not as narrow as we might normally be. It can be really nice here to crawl the fingertips to the right foot, bending that knee more, straightening the left leg, getting a nice stretch of that left hip in the process. And then, of course, going to the other side. And maybe you want to go back and forth a few more times. Maybe you want to grab opposite elbows and hang, or grab onto the legs and hang. Anything that you'd like to do is fair game. Find the breath. Every exhale, think of the torso becoming heavier, the head becoming heavier. And on an inhale, bend into those knees enough that your torso comes to lie on the thighs. And then we're going to keep the legs bent that way and just inhale the torso up. All right, so we're in a wider chair. It's more like a squat here. Hold here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, rise. Exhale, hands through heart center. Let's step the feet back together. From here, we're going to shift the weight into the right foot. Into the right foot. And we'll lift this knee to be in line with the left hip. Hands can either be at heart center or at the hips, whatever you prefer. But before we do anything, I want you to think of really pressing into that right foot, standing tall in this shape. You can even feel the right glute engage. And sometimes it helps to actually grab your booty and feel it fire. So you're like, okay, yes, that is engaging right there. And once you feel good about that, we're gonna exhale, straighten the left leg. Inhale, lower, heel toward mat. Exhale, lift. Inhale, bend. Exhale, straighten. Inhale, lower. Exhale, lift. Inhale, bend. Exhale, straighten. One more. Lift, bend, straighten. We're gonna hold and we're gonna pulse up for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Step the left foot down ahead of you. Slide the right foot back as much as you need to find your high lunge. Right hip forward, left hip back. Anchor that tailbone down, reach the arms up. And then on an exhale, we're gonna let right fingertips reach forward, left fingertips open up to the back, introducing a twist. Keep the shoulders away from the ears and gaze toward the left fingertips any amount. We can let the left fingertips lower to the right leg, reach this right arm back, reversing our twisted lunge. And then use an inhale, unwind, find your way back through center to a normal high lunge. And then exhale, we're gonna hinge forward. Lower the right knee to the mat, and then press the hips back to find a half split. Maybe sliding that left heel forward. And since it's still early in class, let's take a couple rocks forward and back, bending and straightening this left leg. We're ultimately going to do the same thing that we just did at the front of the mat when we were standing. We're going to do that kneeling. So we did those leg lifts. We're going to try it here. Okay, so next time your left leg is straight, we're going to hold it straight. Move tented fingertips to either side of the calf. Now this is going to weave together a lot of the things that we've already been doing. So as you press into tented fingers, you can really round through the back, drawing the navel in. All that does is create a little bit more space for you to lift this left leg, and it engages all of your key muscles through the core to allow for this left leg to be supported. So on exhales, I'm going to cue lifting this left heel from the mat. Please keep in mind that there doesn't need to be air between the leg and the mat. The fire or the muscle can still fire and the left leg stay on the mat, okay? So don't worry if you're like, my leg isn't moving. That's totally normal, okay? So go ahead, round through the back, and on your next exhale, press into those fingertips, lift this left heel any amount, and lower. Lift and lower. Lift and lower. One more, lift, hold for 3, 2, 1, lower, bend into that knee. Crawl your hands all the way to the right foot at the back edge. Find low lunge. Find low lunge. That left hip has already worked a lot, specifically the hip flexor. So bringing right hand to right knee, left hand to left hip. Think of drawing the right leg back as you press the left hip forward, and then sink down, feeling the hip flexor open here. Always you have options. If it feels good to take a twist here, you might tuck the left elbow outside of the right knee. If it feels good to lift the arms or cactus into a little bit of a back bend, honor whatever feels good in the body. And that might mean that you have to explore a few different shapes to determine what that is. Find the breath. On an inhale, lift the arms up, hinge forward, plant the hands, curl the left toes under. We're going to send the right leg back for plank. And this is our first full vinyasa. So if you'd like to take some spinal rolls first, if you'd like to move straight into the vinyasa, whatever feels best in your body. We'll all meet in downward facing dog. And on an inhale, we're going to lift the left leg up. Exhale, rock forward, bring the knee toward the left elbow. Inhale, lift the left leg up. Look to the hands, slide them back, a hand print. All right, this time, exhale, rock forward, knee toward left elbow. Try to bend the elbow straight back. Think of rocking forward a little bit. Inhale, left leg back and up. Exhale, this time left knee toward left elbow. Hop the right foot forward a little bit. Lower the head in front of the fingers. All right, so I can see both my hands. My head is not in line with my hands. It's making a triangle. Left knee's on left elbow. This might be where I stay. Putting pressure into the head is a big deal. So I might stay here and just experiment with it. If I feel okay here, I can reach my left heel toward my left sit bone. And I can think of dragging my right toes in until maybe that right leg lifts. If the right leg is lifted, go ahead and lower it. Wherever you are, right toes lowered, lower the right knee, lower the left knee next to it, and send the hips back to be seated on the heels. Coming out of that shape without coming to the knees is I think even harder than getting into it. And so I want us to be really mindful of our exit. We're going to take a moment here, hands on thighs, close the eyes, and just follow the breath. Notice any changes from the start of class when you tuned into the breath in that child's pose. Maybe your body temperature is different, maybe your breath feels a little bit different. One more breath here. We can go ahead and open the eyes. And guys, we have a kind of crazy arm balance that some of you have done with me before. I don't know if I've actually done it with this semester's class yet, though. So if you want to watch for a moment as I guide through it, please feel free to. It's the one-legged crow pose where we have one leg on the outside and one leg on the back of the arm. And so if you're like, oh, I know what we're doing and I want to have more time to play with it, then please feel free to move straight into it. We will come to hands and knees, and we'll take this left leg and step it forward toward the left hand. So I have my left foot outside of my left hand. I'm going to bring my left hand to the back of my left leg and start to work my shoulder underneath it any amount. I can plant my left hand to where the crook of my fingers is in line with the heel, plant my right hand shoulder distance away from that, curl my right toes under, lift my right knee, and then I'm gonna hop my right foot forward so my hips are high, and I'm gonna bring the knee to the back of the right arm and then lower the hips. Okay, so any one of those stages might be where you stop. It's kind of a crazy thing to teach the body. If you're here, the elbows want to splay out, pull them so they're pulling straight back. All right, now from there, I can kind of inchworm this left foot forward and out to the left. I pull that leg into my left arm and maybe I can lift the heel. Okay, my right toes are still planted. If from there I want to work on lifting the right toes. I'm going to rock forward, lean forward, press them out away. Maybe I can tuck my right toes under. So my right toes are pointed and maybe hovering. Okay, so that's our Ekapada bakasana 2, our one-legged crow pose, variation 2. You just saw actually variation 1, except we had our heads down and headstand. If we had the head lifted, that would be Ekapada bakasana 1, one-legged crow variation 1. So if you weren't following along, if you were watching and you want to try it, left foot is forward, work the left shoulder underneath that leg, plant that hand behind the heel, well, the crook of the hand behind the heel, plant the right hand shoulder distance apart, really grip into those fingers, check that the middle fingers do point forward, curl the right toes under, lift that knee, hop that leg forward, knee comes to the back of the right arm. I use my toes to like literally inchworm my left foot forward. Elbows point straight back. Maybe I hug that left leg into the left arm and I can get some lift. If so, from there, I can think of leaning forward, maybe lifting the right toes. And that's it. As you feel ready to come out of it, slowly release, left foot still forward. Right leg is back. We're going to take a moment here to just circle out the wrists. You can even bring the backs of the hands to the mat, fingertips pointing back toward you, and maybe put some pressure there. As you feel ready, we're going to curl the right toes under, lift that knee, lower that heel 90 degrees, left hand inside of left leg, inhale the right arm up, extended side angle pose. We're here for a few breaths. So if you are working toward the bind, you can always bring the right hand to the low back, maybe work the left arm under, grabbing fingers. Direct the gaze toward the right shoulder, wherever you are, or the right fingertips. Gently release anything that you are in. We're going to crawl the hands all the way to the right foot, bend halfway or all the way into that leg, whatever feels best. Straightening the left leg, bending your skandasana. We can anchor the right fingertips out to the right. Inhale the left arm up to the left. Take a deep breath in, a long breath out, and then exhale. Come back up through center. Turn both sets of toes to point forward and fold. Let the torso be heavy here. Let the breath come and go more naturally. Notice where your weight is in your feet. Try to evenly distribute between all four corners. One more full breath. And then inhale, lengthen the spine to look forward. We're going to crawl the hands to the front edge of the mat. Plant both hands, step back, plank pose. On an inhale, we're going to find our way to downward dog, lifting the left leg. On an exhale, left knee comes toward right elbow. Kick that leg straight, let it hit the ground, and then press into the left hand, sweep the right arm up, fallen star. Exhale, right hand comes back down. Let the left foot slide away as you lower the hips. So the legs are at a 90-degree angle to each other. Check that the left toes flex back. You're really reaching out of that heel. We can either have the top of the right foot on the mat or the toes curled under. But we're going to try to lower the torso any amount, closing this right hip down on top of the left. Soften where you can. If you're not feeling it, then think of the left leg totally being at 90 degrees to your body. Sometimes we accidentally have a larger angle than that, and it's not as good of a stretch. Just one more breath here. And then inhale to slide the hands back. We're going to come out the same way we came in. So curl the right toes under. We can lift the right arm, fallen star. Plant the right hand, bring the left leg back and up. And then from here, left leg is lifted. Crawl the hands one by one to the back edge of the mat. You can begin to bend the left knee, hovering the toes above the mat, just next to the right foot. And then try to stand up without letting the left toes come down. Nice. And we're going to do a standing pigeon today for our external rotation. So left ankle will come atop right knee. You can have hands at hips or at heart center. Flex those left toes, and we're just going to sit the hips back. Now this might feel really good. Personally, I like to either have my hands on a wall ahead of me or to bring them to the mat. I feel like that gets me the stretch that I like, but just explore and experiment here to find a place where you feel a good stretch in your left hip. You can play with bending the right leg more or less, hinging the torso forward more or less. And if you want to challenge your balance here, and if you want to challenge your flexibility here, you can grab the heel of the left foot with the right hand and tuck the left elbow into the arch of the foot. And then bring palms together. I'm gonna fall. And try to look to the side. It's a really hard one. All right, wherever you are, release the left foot down. Let's shake it out. Lots of stabilization going on through that right leg while we're there. It can be pretty intense. All right, now to get back to the front edge of the mat, we're going to do kind of the reverse of what we did earlier where we hopped the feet back. We're going to take little hops forward. Now last time, I believe it was last time anyway, we played with crow hops. If you kind of liked that and want to experiment with that, you can totally do that again, where you do a little crow, touch down a couple inches ahead, move up, crow, and so on. If you want to play with the hops, we'll do this with straight arms. You can plant them a couple feet ahead of the feet, and pressing into the hands will come up onto the toes, and try to lean forward as much as you can and step the feet forward just a little bit. Okay, so it's a lot of upper body strength going on here, a lot of mobility in the hamstrings. The legs do not need to be straight. We'll just keep doing these little bit of hops until you get to the front edge of the mat. And from here, we can inhale, rise all the way up to standing. And exhale, hands through heart center. Take a moment to close the eyes. Scan through left and right sides of body and see if you can notice a difference. We've really been working the left side. The right side has, of course, been along for the ride, but it might feel a little bit different to you. Just consider how you might describe that difference. And we'll go ahead and open the eyes. All right, so this time when we do our standing back bend, we will have the feet underneath the hips, so we'll come back to our more normal stance. Hands at hips, or if you want to just start with them at heart center, knowing that that's where you want to head, that's great too. Firm up through the legs, engage the pelvic floor, press the hips forward, let the chin be the last thing to lift. Keep reaching out to the heart. Keep using the glutes to support the low back. Try to bend more at the shoulder girdle, thinking of like the heart lifting and the hinge coming right beneath the shoulder blades. And then use an inhale, come all the way up. Soften those knees to exhale and fold gently forward. Fold forward. Here you can find any type of forward fold, whether that be grabbing elbows, walking hands side to side, grabbing onto the toes or the feet. You can always bring the hands to the back sides of the legs. Often when we're trying to pull ourselves down toward the legs, we push our belly out. And it actually makes it harder. So think of the navel drawing in, creating some more space, and then the torso moving as a unit into that space. Two more breaths here. And then soften the knees until the torso can rest upon the legs. Keep the legs as they are, sweep the torso up, reaching the arms forward. Hold here for 4, 3, 2, 1. Rise up and exhale, hands to heart center. We'll start this set by shifting the weight into the left foot. If you had hands at hips or heart center, match that again on this side. Lift the right knee up, and again, lengthen first. So press into that left foot, firm up through that left glute. Keep a tall spine. And then exhale to straighten the right leg. Inhale to lower that heel. Exhale, lift. Inhale, bend. Exhale, straighten. Inhale, lower. Exhale, lift. Inhale, bend. Last cycle. Exhale, straighten. Inhale, lower. Exhale, lift and hold. Pulse upward for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Step that right foot down. Slide the left foot back. Find your high lunge. Man, we worked that left hip enough that I can feel it stretching even in just this high lunge right now. All right, from this high lunge, reach left fingertips forward, open the right arm to reach back. Find your twist to the right. Maybe even gaze toward the right fingertips. It can help to look to the ground and trace a line along the ground and then trace up the wall that you arrive at, instead of just trying to direct the gaze directly over the fingertips. Inhale, sweep up through normal lunge. And exhale, fold forward. Fingertips on the mat, left knee lowers. And we'll do a couple rocks back and forward, straightening and bending this right leg. If you're just remembering right now that we have to do those leg lifts on this side, probably dreading it. I know I am, and I'm the one that's making us do them. Next time the right leg is straight, we're gonna hold it. Temp the fingers on either side of the right calf. And again, think of that full body engagement here. We're really pressing into the fingers, rounding through the spine, drawing the navel in. And then on an exhale, lift and lower. Lift and lower. Lift and lower. Last one, we're gonna lift for 3, 2, 1, lower. Bend into that right knee, lift, crawl all the way to the back foot. And find low lunge. So giving this right hip flexor a break. Let's start with left hand on left knee, right hand on right hip to really push the hips to square, push and pull the hips to square. And then from here, enter into any version, any arm positioning that feels good to you. Use an inhale to inflate the body, hinge forward. Plant the hands, curl the right toes under. Step this left foot back to a plank. All right, second vinyasa. Option to find child's pose, to find spinal rolls, or to move through your vinyasa. We'll all meet in downward dog. And this is where we play with Eka Pada Bakasana 1. So Eka means one, Pada means, well, it means foot technically, but also refers to leg. And Bakasana being crow, okay? So we'll start by inhaling the right leg up, and then exhale knee toward right elbow. Inhale up, look to the hands, slide them back, a full handprint, maybe even more based off of whatever you felt last time. Exhale, bring that knee forward. Try to bend the elbows, lean forward a little bit. Inhale, right leg back. Exhale, bring the right knee to the right elbow. Hop the left foot forward. Lower the head in front of the hands. Reach right heel towards sit bone. Maybe stay right here. Maybe think of dragging those left toes in, lifting that left leg. Left leg is lifted, it can lower. All of us can lower the left knee, lower the right knee next to it. Bring the torso upright into a seat. Whew. All right. In this seat, I'm going to guide us through some breath work. And it's called Nadi Shodhana. It means alternate nostril breathing. What's, I think, fascinating is that humans have a predominant nostril they breathe out of at any given time. And it switches throughout the day. So one nostril is typically associated with one hemisphere of the brain. And so the theory behind this pranayama is that by intentionally breathing out of one nostril at a time, we're connecting left and right hemispheres, and we are ultimately finding a little bit of a balance effect in the body. The way that we'll do it is we'll have left palm face up like on top of the left knee or thigh. Right hand, we're going to bring the three middle fingers to the forehead, to that space between the eyebrows. That means we have our thumb and our pinky finger free to block each nostril at any given time. And sometimes I like to use my pinky finger and my ring finger together and just have the two fingers between my eyebrows. So note what feels best to you. But ultimately, we're going to inhale fully, exhale everything through the nose. Inhale fully once more through both nostrils. And then block the right nostril, exhale left. Inhale left. Block left, exhale right. Inhale right. Block right, exhale left. Inhale left. Block left, exhale right. Ultimately, we'll keep doing that. So you change the nostril on the exhale. And then you breathe back in through that same nostril. And then change nostril to exhale. Same nostril for inhale. So I'll let you just keep track of this for yourself. Change on the exhale. The next time that you both exhale and inhale on the right nostril, you can go ahead and release the hands both face down and then exhale through the mouth. Notice any lingering effect, maybe a feeling of more balance between left and right side, especially as you consider the face and the head. Take one more breath here. And then we can go ahead and open the eyes. From here, we're going to plant the hands coming into a tabletop position. And this time we'll lift the right leg out to the side with the bent knee and step the right foot outside of the right hand. All right, so this is our arm balance on the right side. We can start by pressing the hand into the back of the right leg, working the arm under, planting the crook of the hand behind the heel, planting the left hand shoulder distance away. Curl the left toes under, lift that knee, hop it forward, knee to the back of the left arm or shin to the back of the left arm. And then from here, the right leg squeezes in, the elbows point straight back. Keep inch forming this right foot forward. Maybe you can really hug that leg into the arm and get some lift. That's a great place to be. If you want to go further, you can keep leaning forward, try to point those left toes. Find some hang time. This is a very challenging arm balance. It can really help to do it on blocks just to get a little more space as you're trying to lift the feet. As soon as you're ready to be done exploring that, you can set back up into that kind of low lunge shape. We'll curl the left toes under, lift that knee, lower the foot 90 degrees. Right hand inside of right foot. Bring this left arm up. Find your extended side angle. And we also want to jut the head out here. Try to keep the neck in line with the rest of the spine. Gaze over the left fingertips. Or if you're working toward the bind, bring the left hand to the low back. Gaze over the left shoulder. We can work the right arm under the leg any amount. Try to reach those hands together. If you're working toward the bind, this is a great place to hold on to something with the left hand and let it hang down, and then the right fingers can find it and kind of crawl up it. Even just a hand towel or a belt. Here for 2 more breaths. Gently release. Bring the hands to the mat. We're going to go all the way to the left leg, bending as deeply as feels good into that left leg. Curl the left fingertips out to the left. Reach this right arm up. Bending a nice open skandasana. Exhale, soften that right hand back down. With the hips back up, we're not going to do a wide-legged forward fold since it is symmetrical. So instead, crawl the hands to the front edge of the mat. Right foot is planted. Plant those hands. Send the left leg back and up. And then lower it down. So we're in a down dog. From here, we're going to lift the right leg up. Exhale, knee across the body toward the left elbow. Kick that leg straight. Let the foot land, lift the left arm up, fallen star. Exhale, left hand finds the mat. Slide the heel away as you lower onto the hip. And again, set up for your hip adduction here. Whether you curl the toes, plant the top of the foot. One more breath. And then inhale, we can slide the hands back, trying to come the same way that we came into this pose, coming out of it. So curl the left toes under, press into the hands to lift the hips, maybe lift the left arm up. Exhale, that left hand back down, reach the right leg back and up, 3-legged down dog. And this is where we crawl the hands all the way back, bending the right knee, hovering the toes above the mat, and coming to stand. And then we find our standing pigeon. So right ankle atop left knee, bend into that left leg, hinge the torso forward any amount. Find a setup that feels good to you. If you took that weird twist on the other side, you can do so again by grabbing the heel of the foot with the left hand and then placing the right elbow in the arch, bringing palms together. Nice setup for grasshopper pose, yogi dandasana pose. Wherever you are, let's come all the way back up. Release the feet. Shake it out. And from here, guys, we just need to make our way to our mats. So it can be as simple as stepping to the center and reaching the hands forward to lower the hips. If there's any other way that you want to get down there, that's fine too. What we'll go ahead and do once we're here is grab the back sides of the legs and roll onto the back. From here, you have options as always: spinal twists, happy baby. If you put weight into the head, it might feel good to do a plow pose or shoulder stand. It can feel good to do a bridge pose, a wheel pose. But allow yourself these last couple minutes to just explore whatever you think really would feel good in your body. Make sure if you're doing anything asymmetrical that you do it to both sides. And ultimately, whenever you feel ready to surrender into a final shape, allow yourself to find that shape and just settle into it. If you're lying down, you can work the shoulder blades beneath your back, soften through the ankles, through the pelvis, through the shoulders. If you're seated, you can let the hands slide a little further back on the legs than you might naturally, so that the shoulders are more gently drawn toward each other on the back without much effort. And no matter where you are, you can soften the jaw, soften the eyes. Release control of the breath. You can gently invite the breath back into the body by lengthening the inhales and the exhales. And from there, allow the deepening of the breath to introduce any more movement that might feel good. Any wiggles, any stretches. If you're lying down, you can amplify those movements until you feel ready to move into a seat. And from here, we can all inhale the arms up, palms coming together overhead, exhaling to pause at the forehead, to pause at the mouth, and to come to rest at heart center. This is a great opportunity to send yourself a little message of gratitude for showing up for yourself in this way, because we know that in showing up for ourselves, we enable ourselves to better show up for others as well. Thumbs can return to forehead as we bow forward gently. The light within me recognizes and honors the light within each of you. Namaste.